Hello for everyone, I am Sabrina Suluai-Mahuka, and if you are just now tuning in, this is the second lesson in my segments for my journey to community leadership. And we know now that the path to leadership is through service. And so the lesson that we're going to be focusing on today is don't be afraid to leave your metaphorical box. Sometimes we place ourselves in a box because we're conditioned to think that way, or that's just what we know. And so it's hard for us to branch out and, test the waters in different things that we might be interested or passionate in. But we have to remember that the limitations that we're placing on ourselves is all up here. It's all in your head. If you have the passion and you have the dedication to make a change, I would urge you to leave that metaphorical box that you put yourself in. In addition, you might be put in a box from the societal norms that are in our community or in that workforce or, in that space that you're in. But we have to remember you can still fulfill your designated roles, but also go beyond it. Go beyond that, those four walls of your box. Dismantle the box, as a whole. You don't need to be there. There are no limitations to what you can achieve if you put your mind and your heart to it. And this is especially important to our youth, our current leaders. We want to make sure that we are living up to the word leader. And that is actually showcasing that through our actions. An example of this, and I'll always go back to Finafinau, is how the organization was started off with a one-person team, me, and that was really hard because we were averaging about 40 to 60 students at a time, and having one adult supervisor is definitely not enough. And so luckily, there were other people in my community and in my friend list that were also willing to step out of their box. You see this picture is the board that I'm currently working with, and we're missing one, Elizabeth. But we have Casey from EPA who actually reached out to me. I never met her before, and she reached out and said that she wants to join in. And I was ecstatic because I needed that help. And I'm so grateful that Casey was able to just branch out, right? And we'll take the first step to messaging a stranger and talking about how she was passionate about joining in this effort for our community. And then you have DJ from Land Grant and Timu from the Cancer Coalition. And again, Elizabeth from the Department of Health. We all have different backgrounds, but we were all willing to do one thing, which was step out of our metaphorical box for a greater purpose, our youth, for our land, for the benefit of our environment. And we're still doing that today as a team, and that's been such a blessing to work with like-minded people. And together, we've been able to host several events throughout the year, and they've been beneficial to our youth who are learning about saving our ocean, protecting our land, and empowering our people. Some things that we've hosted include collaborative waves with land grants, with ASEPA. I think the Ocean Center was there too. You can see all my kids there, very big smiles. And they were one of the bigger parties at this wave, this awareness wave, to showcase our appreciation for the earth, and not just on Earth Day, but every day. We've also been able to host annual social media awareness campaigns. We've never hosted awareness campaigns in our lives, but because we were able to step out of our box, you can see the first winners here, which is the Sanchez family. They created their own PSA about littering, and we've had so many incoming PSAs from our students, designed by themselves, footage from themselves, the script is from themselves, using local research. So we're not only stepping out of our own box, but we're encouraging our youth to do so as well. It takes a lot for them to say, oh yeah, my voice is meaningful, there's value to it. And it's up to us as leaders or as adults and mentors to encourage our students to shift their mindset to say, yes, your voice is valued. Your perspective is valued. Your input is valued. And so hosting these kind of events helps others get out of their box. And that literally is the goal as a community leader. Some other examples is collaborating with partners. Before Finafinau, I didn't really join a lot. I didn't really host any summits or anything by myself. But together as a team, we've been able to build these partnerships with the community, such as Rotaract Club of Pango Pango, hosting additional video contests, hosting a summit. We have guests, a doctor from ASEPA. We have a former Finafinau founding member presenting as well at our summit. We've had participants from across the island. We had coastal cleanups where we had even like Paradise Pizza sponsoring the cleanup because they also believed in these students and what they're doing. And so because you were able to step out of your metaphorical box, there's other people willing to help you along the way and run parallel and run tangent to your goals. And that really is so powerful when we have a community working together. Another example of this is working with the biodiversity department for the governor's office, and also again the Rotaract Club of Pango Pango. This was a fun activity for the kids to get involved in because at first the governor's department, they were actually doing the work for everyone to showcase that, but I told them, nope, please stop. You can demonstrate, but I want the kids to actually do it. And they kind of looked at me like, what? You want them to do it? And I said, yes, it's okay. And if you probably can't see it here, but it was really muddy that day. And the kids, I told them, you're going to get your hands dirty. You should also be the ones who are giving back to the land, planting mangroves as natural barriers, instead of a seawall. That's meaningful. And although they probably weren't expecting our kids to do it, this was another chance for our youth to learn how to get out of their box, to be doers, to be agents of change with action instead of just watching, right? Because a lot of times for adults, we allow them to watch and say, hey, I'm going to demonstrate this, but we don't actually give the opportunity for the youth to learn. And so that was one activity that they got their hands dirty and they did it themselves. And together, I think they planted over 75 to 100 mangrove seedlings, which is pretty amazing. And I hope that we continue to have efforts in alignment with this. Another example was this summit that we have. I know I mentioned it before, but we were able to partner with even more community members like Blue Sky and Mountain's Pizza and the Democratic Party of American Samoa. And we were able to host this summit with, I think, about 50 students from across the island. And you can see some of them here, but this was pretty great because not only did they assist with cleaning the coast, they were also able to plant trees, which is extremely important. And at the same time, even more important, they were able to talk to other members of the community from land grants, the CEO from Blue Sky. And so building that support system and networking was also one way, again, to get our students and our youth out of their box. And this is what I kind of want to bring it, in the end of the closing or in the midsection of it, actually. I left that box that I put myself in when I chose to revamp my entire curriculum. I'm an English teacher by trade, but because I was inspired to make a change, I revamped my entire curriculum and blended it with science, like environmental science. We were still doing English language arts for reading, speaking, and listening, but they were reading research articles. They were looking up local research and partnering with some of our local departments to get that research. They were making PSAs. They were making flyers. They did a research paper. And because of that, I stepped out of my box and challenged the norm that society placed upon English teachers. And I was the first American Samoan to win the U.S. EPA Presidential Award for Environmental Education for Region 9. At the time of application, I didn't know that, so that was pretty cool that was a result of doing this. But I share this not to toot my own horn, but just because it's a very clear example of what you can achieve when you step out of your box, or when you just do away with the box, period. Some other examples of why we do what we do and step out of your box is because, like for me, my goal is I want to elevate the youth. And in order to elevate them, I need to give them a space to learn and to be leaders. And you can see in some of the news outlets who shared, we have a cleanup on that left-hand side. We had over like 200 participants. That's pretty amazing. In the middle, again, we had our summit. They were able to plant trees. We have Tafuna High School there. We have Samora High School there as well. And then the one on the right side you can see was Meal with a Mentor, which was the goal to build a space for our youth, a support system. And this started because of the epidemic of suicides that was happening in American Samoa. As a teacher, that really hit hard because a lot of the people were young people, and I couldn't just sit there idly. And I came up with this idea for Meal with a Mentor to get our community involved. And what better way to bond with someone than over a meal? And it was successful because now we have a lot of participants, former participants, and community members who are just looking forward to hosting more. And they were just, sorry, you can hear the rain in the background. And they were just looking for an opportunity to be a mentor, to help out with our youth. And so this is honestly my favorite activity for Finafinau, because we get to reach so many students, so many youth who just need that connection. And you get to talk to somebody who have similar interests. Maybe that's, I don't know, watching Korean dramas, or maybe a similar career and college pathway. And this photo just doesn't do it justice. And I hope to continue to expand Meal with a Mentor and reach not only our students, but also encourage more community members to take part in being a support system for our youth, so they can get out of their box, so our students can get out of their box, right? And so I want to close with the goal as a community leader is to do the work now. One of the teachers I used to work with was sharing that she wanted to advocate for her youth, and she was kind of met with a wall of indifference, or just a wall that wouldn't budge. And she didn't want to step on anyone's toes. But I told her, no, step on them. Step on them so hard that there's an everlasting imprint, because what you do for our youth, if it's something that's important to you, if it's something that's important to our youth, you need to be that person for them. Advocate for them. Fight for them, because some people don't value the voices of our youth. They don't. It's very clear. And so if you can be that person for them, do it. The goal is, as a leader, you have the responsibility to pave the path. You pave it now. You put the hard work in now, so that when others are inspired to follow suit, they have less impediments blocking their way. Thank you, and take care.